Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. The show is about to begin.
Hoi, as they say in Friesland in the north of Holland, and welcome to another episode of Chats with Nats. Sorry, my countdown was broken. I tried to fix it, but I don't know what was going on anyway. So yeah, I hope that we'll have a countdown again next show. But anyway, let's dive into today's episode. My name is Natalie. I'm a professional photographer based in Johannesburg, South Africa. And if you are new here to the show, welcome. Thank you so much for tuning in and for your support. This show is a chat about all sorts of things in photography. And I have challenged myself to, live stream a couple of times a week and to producing my own show. But as we are going about this, today is clearly Friday and another one of those with technical gremlins. Apart from my countdown, I think I also have, my exposure a little bit dialed too much. And I'm a little bit distracted because, as you can see, my exposure is changing now, and my minions are trying to fix it. Thank you very much for doing that. So I think this is a little bit better. All right, but without any further delays now, let's dive into today's show, because today, as announced, I want to talk to you about what would happen if I only had one lens and what lens I would choose. So what I'm going to talk to you about is why I think I want to chat to you about this topic, then my lens of choice, which would be the 23mm, and then what your situation would be and what you should do. We will also talk about what I will be speaking in the next show, and a few more details I want to share with you about the shows going forward. Alrighty-o. Why have I chosen to talk about this? Why do I think that we need to wonder, or I need to wonder, or have wondered why I want to shoot with one lens only, or if that should ever be the case? So I want to share a little bit of backstory, a little bit of context as to why why today is about this. So I, in my chats, I speak about simplifying your photography in general. So no matter what the topics are, in general, I always try to, make it easier and quicker to get photographs, to, really make it enjoyable and keep the focus on taking the photographs, on the enjoyment of photos without getting bogged down into all the technical and other details. So I think this is a really valuable topic to talk about and to spend a little bit more time on thinking about. I'm not talking about the working professional. I'm not talking to you from a professional or working perspective where the situation would be different. If you are a working photographer and if this was the situation I needed to choose a lens, and it would be a different lens, it would be probably the 16-55, but this is not what we're speaking about. This is really about my personal photography, about your personal photography, and about a lens and gear that you shoot with for your project. So, as I've spoken about also in a previous episode, specifically in episode number 5, where I talk about one camera, one lens, minimizing your gear is really good for your creativity. It really pushes you further. So if you want to know more about what I think about that, you can go and watch that episode. And I also believe that using one lens only at a time will really help you master your gear. It will help you to learn everything there is to learn about one particular lens, and that will help you learn one step at a time. It will help you master one piece of gear at a time, and that will teach you mastering something, and it will help you grow as a photographer, as a creative, and will, pave the way to you becoming a master of photography, which is really important. And if this is something that you are striving towards, then stick with me. So let's have a look at why I think the 23 f2 from Fujifilm is my lens of choice that I would use if I had to make this decision. So it's no secret I'm shooting Fujifilm, but this is not specifically about this particular lens. This is not a review. It is simply my experience that I want to share with you in having shot with one focal length or even with different gear over a long period of time, and having gone back to look at what the lenses that I shoot most with, and maybe even surprisingly so, this is what I've discovered is my 23 f2. But before I go into the details why I think that is, let's just have a look at a couple of different genres that I've shot with it, just to show you what this lens can do and what I've shot with it and the images that I like. So I've chosen a few, not to really go into details about those photographs, but to show you that when it comes to landscape photography, which I shoot in my personal time, it is really versatile and it gives me really good results. I love the colors. In this image, for example, in particular, I shot this without planning to go out for a big photo shoot. I was on a walk with my sister at the time in Germany. As you can see, there's ice on the roof, so this was definitely not in South Africa. And I love, the sky, the chimney with the smoke obviously caught my eye. And I love the crispness of the image and the very depth of field in this image, which you can get really good results with this lens. But when I travel, which I love, and I'm sure a lot of you out there use your gear in travel photography as well, the lens is extremely versatile because it's so small and easy to carry around with and so robust. It is perfect for travel photography. So when I go out and travel, there's lots of different ways I, use the lens, be it on sightseeing or, on the roadside, encountering different scenarios, or, just capturing something essential about, having been out traveling. This image here, for example, which is so eye-catching because of all the different colorful flags, was actually shot from a moving vehicle on the highway. So having a small fast lens really helps in capturing all sorts of different scenarios and as scenes like this, for example. But these are not the only scenes or genres, I should say, that I've used this lens in. Something that's maybe not so straightforward to think about is close-ups. It is by no means a macro lens, and I use it though, because during my travels, I encounter lots of different small details which I like to capture. And by using only one lens, I test how well this particular lens performs, and you can have a look yourself. I love capturing different flowers when I'm out and about or in different scenes, just to see, what different kinds of flowers I encounter in different areas where I am. And it gives me the flexibility, despite not being a macro lens, that I can really, get quite close and capture some details. Like here, for example, this is, a really small flower. This is no bigger than, the diameter of the lens itself. But it really captures this really nicely, and I appreciate that, being able to do that with the same lens that I shoot everything else with, as well as when I'm shooting food. for the gram, as we all do, or a lot of us, it, can do that really well also. So whether it's from overhead, or maybe from different angles, a little bit close in or further out, it is a really good lens that you can use. This picture here, I wanted to just point out that it was just me being out and about. I wasn't going out to take this photograph. I happened to drink this beer, which was very tasty indeed, and I enjoyed the scene and the scenery. And what I love so much about it is because it is more on the wider side, I get a lot of the environment in the background in the shot, which for me in this particular case really makes the shot. And at the same time, it is fast and easy to get to this result. So that's a really good benefit of this lens. And then maybe even less likely for this relatively wide lens to shoot is environmental portraits. Portraits themselves, you come across maybe when you're traveling, you maybe enjoy capturing different people that you meet or the people that you're traveling with, or in your everyday, you want to capture people. And this lens is particularly good at doing this, in an environment where you can, not only see the person, but you can really capture where this person was. And this is particularly in, for my personal use, but also, during my work, I also use this lens for exactly that same reason. I, however, want to highlight what I mean with this particular image, because it is a close-up. You can definitely see there's a person, and you can see the whole scene in it, but you can capture something that's different and really creative. And I love that very much about this lens. So as you can see, it is an extremely versatile lens. It, lets me shoot all the different genres, all with one lens, all without having to change lenses, which is, such a huge benefit. The lens makes my camera very compact, so I am quick and easy to, be able to ready to shoot. It is weather resistant, which is a huge bonus especially when you're traveling. So it gets that worry out the way, and you can still capture even scenes that you arrive in a place that you want to capture because you're visiting there maybe once in a lifetime. But the weather is not ideal, so that doesn't stop you. Also, just being able to shoot all these different genres makes it, a really attractive lens. And on top of that, it is very affordable. Now, this particular lens from Fujifilm is not unique. I'm sure other brands have similar kinds of lenses that they have brought on the market in a similar range, at a similar price point, most probably. So this is not unique to the brand, and it is really the focal length and the versatility that I want to highlight, which is why it is my lens of choice. So how does this affect you? How can you go about achieving similar results or enjoyments in your photography? And what are the benefits for you to shoot with one lens? Apart from, I see in comments, people are talking about gas, the need that you feel you need to buy more than one lens or another new lens, and you're not even sure if you need that particular lens. That set aside, I think that when you shoot with one lens, it makes you much faster and flexible in shooting different, capturing moments or different scenes, because you're always ready to shoot, and you don't need to change a lens. You know exactly how your lens works, and that will help you capture better images. It will teach you to zoom with your feet when you're shooting with a prime lens. It is something that is hugely beneficial, not only when you're starting out in photography, but in general. It will help you to know what distance, what focal length this lens is. You will be able to see what you will be able to capture with one lens without having the camera in front of your eye. You will get a feel for, already how far away you need to be from your subject in order to capture what it is that you want to have in the frame. And that will help you a great deal with getting great results faster and, having more fun in capturing those images. It will also help you to really focus, because you will only have this one focal length. So there is no distraction about, zooming, about, you really can focus on your composition. So that will also help you in improving, your photography and getting better results first time around. And again, it will also help you become more creative, because as we control and put boundaries towards what we can use and the gear that we have at hand, the more we need to think out the box and solve the problem of how I get the shot that I want with the gear that I have, which is an extremely valuable lesson to learn. So where should you start? If you have been shooting for a while and you have a catalog of images available, go back into this catalog and filter by your focal length and see what are the images that you shot with a specific focal length the most. So you will probably be surprised. I myself did this a long time ago, and I was surprised, because I would have thought that because I like the 56mm, for example, so very much, that I would have shot a lot more images with it. But as it turns out, I didn't. And this is how I came about the 23mm, because the majority of my images that I shoot for myself are shot with a 23. And so you should go and find which one of those focal lengths is yours and which one is the one that you shoot most of your images with. And that means that you probably like that focal length the most for different kinds of reasons. If you don't have a collection of images of that, of that extent available to you, maybe you only have a handful of images that are your favorites. And then you can also see what focal length these are shot with, and then get to your focal length that you should use that way. If you don't have any of these available to you, my recommendation is that you start out with either a 16 or an 18mm, a 23, or a 35mm. So depending on your brand and manufacturer that you shoot with, you will find that lens that fits into these focal lengths, and that is a very good starting point for you. In addition to that, I recommend that you go and look for a photography group of some sort in your area that you can join to get inspiration, people that you can exchange experiences with. That is also extremely helpful. And so here is my challenge to you. I want you to try shooting with your favorite lens only. And then I want you to take this lens and shoot a lot of different genres. I want you to go and shoot landscapes so that you can learn about hyperfocal distance, about your depth of field, or shoot portraits, because that will teach you composition. It will teach you to deal with people and to create environmental images. Maybe it will teach you what you want in the scene, what you want out the scene, and it will teach you everything you will want to learn about this particular lens. There are many other genres. Try them all out. Try close-ups to see a minimum focus distance, for example, and all the aspects that make for the specs of a lens and what you could possibly learn as you go and shoot those different genres. And then I want you to use the images that you've shot and curate them and really have a look and see what different kinds of images you can shoot with this lens. And you will probably also see how you progress in the way that you shoot. This all will contribute into you mastering your lens and really honing down onto, learning everything there is to learn about this one particular lens. And this will be a great step in, a step forward for your creativity and towards mastering something new. If you have any questions, you are more than welcome to shoot them at me now or later, and I will be more than happy to answer them. There is quite a bit of chat going on in the comments here. Let me just see if there are any questions. Thank you guys for being so active in the comments today. It's really great to see you all here. And there are some specific questions about the X-T5, which I spoke to in my previous show. I will take these questions offline and I will answer them in the comments. And yeah, if there is nothing else specific about shooting with one lens only, I will move on from here. But thank you for everyone for your questions and for being here with me today and for joining me and sticking it out. And this concludes what I wanted to share with you for today. And let's see what I will be talking about in my next show is another lens, a little bit more specifically about the latest macro lens by Fujifilm, the 30mm f2.8 that has been released that I've been shooting with for a little while. It's got nothing to do with film photography, but things that I've learned about this lens and that I wanted to share with you, and some macro photography in general and how the lens compares to other macro lenses as well. So I hope that you will join me for that show again. It will be absolutely wonderful to have you, and maybe you want to share this with others. Make sure that you have subscribed to my channel if you like the content, and hit the notification so that you are always on top of the latest announcements and when my shows are scheduled to go live. I am trying to keep it to a specific time. I know that consistency is really good and important. It is at some times a little bit challenging. At the moment, I think 9 o'clock is a good time, so I will try to stick with that. I also want to just let you know that, now that January is over, and I challenged myself to go live as often as possible in January, which has been an extremely amazing experience. And from now on, I will come on live every Friday at 9 o'clock. Please keep an eye out on my channel and on notifications. If this does change, then this is due to, as you know, load shedding in our beautiful country. But otherwise, it will be 9 o'clock every Friday from now on. I hope to see you again next week. Until then, you have a wonderful day, a beautiful weekend. As always, take lots of pictures, and until then, take care.